Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking about episode 1 of Total Drama All-Stars, Heroes vs. Villains. Oh man, guys, I didn't even realize this episode was airing this month. I've been going by the Canadian air dates. I didn't think the show was going to come on until January. I didn't realize it was premiering first in the US. So anyway, so when I started hearing on Twitter about how people were just freaking out about this first episode, I'm like, what? But anyway, yes, Total Drama is finally back, and I gotta say, oh man, it feels so good. It feels so darn good. After what they had done, with World Tour, of course, last season, they went back with Revenge of the Island to what worked so well in season 1. And here we see that they're continuing that theme. I actually saw just a little while ago a fan make the comment that Gwen is the main character again. And you can make a pretty good case for them being right. Because a lot of what is going on here does seem to be sort of focused on Gwen. Now, I'm going to talk about what's going on with other people. I'm not going to be able to go through everybody on... I'm not going to go through everybody, but everybody did have their nice little moments to shine. Obviously, characters like Cameron only had a few lines here and there. So I'm just going to kind of hit the highlights. Also, one thing is that I am not going to do is, at least at this point, and probably not until later on, make any sort of prediction as to who the winner is going to be. Making predictions on stuff like this is, in my book, kind of a sucker's bet. And I'm one of those people, I generally tend to keep my fan theories to myself, for the most part, just because I hate being proven wrong. I hate getting jossed, as it's so often referred to in fandom. So I got some notes right here. Got a nice soda. So let's kind of get into it. So anyway, let's talk about, since I think Gwen is kind of the centerpiece character of this episode, let's talk about a few other people, and then we'll get to Gwen. Okay, first of all, finally, Chris McLean got some comeuppance for everything that he has done. Now, how in the world he isn't on the hook for, multiple counts of reckless endangerment, involuntary manslaughter. I mean, seriously, Chris has done stuff that would get, like, the Punisher or Dexter after him. And now it is he ends up with a year in jail for violating environmental regulations. But still, at the very least, Chris has at least to some small degree finally been forced to pay for his crimes. Of course, this isn't Total Drama without their Chris just being the absolute most evil dude on the planet. So in short order, he's back. And you can tell that he's just eating it up. I follow Christian Potenza on YouTube and Twitter. And I just love how this guy... I mean, you can tell he totally loves being Chris. And really, how can you blame him? How can you blame him for just having the chance to just cut loose and be such a complete and utter jerk like Chris is? So yeah, lots of points to Christian Potenza. He's a really great actor, fun dude, and a real booster for fandom if you ever pay attention to his YouTube videos. He's one of those guys you really would just sort of like to meet in real life and just tell him that you think he's a cool guy. So let's move on to one of my personal favorite characters who's back this season, and that's Sierra. Now, I know she's sort of a love-or-hate kind of character for a lot of people, but I always enjoyed her. I thought she added something fresh to Season 3. Anyway, so Sierra's back in true form, slightly different haircut, still as Cody-obsessed as ever, and I gotta say, I really would like to... have Cody make an appearance in this season, just to sort of check exactly where he is with Sierra, because last I checked, they kind of gotten to a point where Sierra had agreed to be friends with him. Here, it seems like she's, basically that never happened. Now, Total Drama has not exactly always been 100% consistent with its characterization. understatement. But yeah, we're not going to harp on that too much. It's too early out of the gate to really kind of get into that too much. But I really did love how she's the one who kind of mentions, yeah, some of, like she says to Duncan and Gwen, you know, a lot of the fans on my blogs were really divided about you getting together. And of course, Sierra has always been meant to be sort of the people on the show poking fun at Total Drama fans a little bit. And yeah, Gwen and Duncan getting together being a divisive issue among the fans. Understatement. So yeah, I do like that she's pretty obviously going to be continuing that role, and honestly, I kind of hope she does pretty well in this season because I want her to stick around for a little while. Now, one other thing that we're looking at here, one other thing that I want to say is I also really liked how Zoe got a moment to shine. She was really one of the characters who I think really grabbed the fans' attention. I know I was really seriously rooting for her big time, and I was really happy with how, you know, she stuck it out there to almost the very end. So I was really pleased with what they did with Zoe last episode. And also, the thing about Zoe is, and I'm not the first person to make this observation, is that Zoe in many ways was all of the good traits about Season 1 Gwen kind of distilled down and then given, you know, a cheerful, upbeat personality as the reverse of, you know, Gwen's sort of downbeat and gloomy attitude that she had in Season 1. And that really did work. It made Zoe a character that a lot of fans latched onto. It brought, you know, a really cool, strong female character to Season 4, which, you know, I have to say I don't think was really the best in terms of what we were presented with in terms of the female characters. As much as I liked how Dawn was a riff on my favorite Harry Potter character, Luna Lovegood, yeah, that just wasn't going to cut it. Oh, pardon me. Stupid soda. Anyway, so let's kind of get into, as I said, I kind of consider Gwen to be the centerpiece character here. So let's get into talking about her and the characters who are around her. And that's, of course, going to be Duncan, Courtney, and Heather. Now, what's really interesting here is that, you know, Gwen is, of course, protesting at being put on the villainous vultures. You know, she considers herself to be a good person. And her insistence that Heather and Duncan were over at that time, well, I have to say I consider that a very questionable interpretation of what was going on in the events of Season 3. I mean, this feels like that whole Ross and Rachel thing from Friends. You know, we were on a break. And incidentally, I sided with Ross on that one. You know, jeez. I mean, even Hugh Laurie basically told Rachel to go and get stuffed on that one. Anyway, getting into it though. First of all, I kind of like how we have at least like 3 different couples sort of floating around here. We've got Duncan and Gwen. We've got Mike and Zoe, and you know, absolutely no surprise if you've been paying attention to what's been going on to this season that Alejandro is back. So, you know, Heather's obviously going to be pretty pleased about that. So, for the moment, even though it's not exactly official, I'm going to put them in the couples pile. Now, what's interesting is that's going on with Gwen is that she seems to be very ambivalent about her relationship with Duncan. Like, it's one of those situations where you enjoy wanting to be with someone more than you actually enjoy being with someone. I mean, you really see that they don't really have a very strong connection. And you even see very briefly that Joe seems to like feel a little bit of a connection with Duncan. So wouldn't it just be the most supreme of ironies if Duncan were to start, you know, getting together or making out or whatever with Joe at some point behind Gwen's back? You know, Courtney, of course, would absolutely eat that up. Heather would be right there next to her. And boy, talk about a bitter irony. You know, really, the shoe would totally be on the other foot for Gwen there. And speaking of another reversal for Gwen, look at what she's also dealing with is that she's she's really having a hard time convincing even the people around her that she's a good guy, which of course parallels what was going on with Heather in season 3, where she was trying to show that she was one of the good, well, maybe not exactly a good guy, but that she was better. I mean, certainly Heather had, over the course of the previous seasons leading up to 3, become a better and nicer person. I mean, she was still Heather, but she certainly wasn't the main villain, the major villain of season 1 like she had been. Now here we see Heather backsliding a little bit, but, I think it's a little too soon to see exactly where she is based on this episode and her brief appearance last season. Because one thing we always have to remember is that Heather is insanely competitive. I mean, she and Courtney are very much alike on that one. And, I don't know. I always sort of question Courtney's interpretation of her and Gwen being friends. Maybe I was just too hung up on season 1, but it always seemed to me like Bridget was the only person who you could really firmly say was Courtney's friend. But anyway, yeah, the whole potential cheating boyfriend thing, the whole reversal of with Heather of trying to convince people that she's a good guy. I mean, there's some very, very rich character possibilities for what's going on with Gwen and the characters around her. So yeah, and what I really love about this is that what's going on with the characters has me so excited. Of course I appreciate the comedy and the pop culture jokes and all that other fun stuff. But at the end of the day, it's really the characters on this show, wacky and goofy Canadian animated teens that they are. They're what really draw me in on this. And I've long said that Gwen is my absolute all-time favorite total drama character. So this is like Christmas came early for me. Okay? I wasn't too happy with a lot of what Gwen did in season 3. Believe you me, I was extraordinarily disappointed in her as a character. But here, it seems that, the good stuff about my favorite total drama character is back. Lots of interesting things are set up. We've also, of course, got other interesting things going on with the other characters. I'm really excited to see who else is going to pop up and make a cameo. Honestly, the only thing that really I found disappointing was that they've shortened up the theme song. Now, granted, that does give them a few extra seconds to work on the story, but Total Drama has just such a great theme song. And the openings have always been really, really fun ways to showcase the characters and what's going on with the season. I just feel really disappointed that they went in there and tinkered with that. I really don't think it was a necessary change. But still, overall, as I've said, everything that I've loved about Total Drama is back. I am so insanely excited to see this new season. I mean, I really just don't have words. This is easily like my favorite animated TV show that's on right now. Now, I'm going to be reviewing the entire season. I did one review previously of Total Drama when I kind of did an overall season review of Revenge of the Island, and it's even now still proven to be one of my most popular videos. So I am super, super excited to finally have a full season of Total Drama to review for you guys. I am beyond jazzed to do this. It's going to be great. That said, there is one small bump in the road. I'm actually going to be on vacation when the next episode airs. I'm going on a short trip to Japan. So I'm probably going to be a little bit delayed in getting that review out to you because basically I'm going to be getting back Sunday night and then I've got to go to work the next day. So I'm going to be caught up. I'm going to be tied up with getting caught up on some work stuff and just sort of recovering that post vacation recovery. But I'm going to watch that as soon as I get a chance. I'm going to watch that episode and shoot out a review for you guys. As I said, I think we're going to have a lot of fun this season. Totally looking forward to everything that's coming. So anyway, with that said, I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter @HoosierJedi. And until next time, take care and have a good one.